Good morning, everybody. You are welcome to the third in our series of coffee break webinars that we at GTC have been hosting over the last number of weeks. You're very welcome this week. We are delighted to welcome James and Jacqui, two GTC members, two different companies, yet one and the same. I'll let them tell you a little bit about their story. James runs a company called 3D Technology Ltd, and they've actually been members of GTC since going back to 2015, I believe, and he's been around the building since 2013, so he's well used to the building. And then Jacqui, his partner, in 2019 set up MedScan 3D, who is kind of the highlight of this talk, but I'll let them kind of explain how their dynamic partnership works between their two companies, and how that they've been maneuvering through the past few weeks of the challenges of COVID-19. But as we've done in the last couple episodes of this series, I'm going to hand you over to James and Jacqui. They prepared a presentation. They're going to share it and do their talk, probably about 15-20 minutes. Afterwards, if anyone does have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat box below. And we'll hopefully keep this to within the 30-minute mark so that everyone can get back to their working day. But without further ado, I'll hand you over to James and Jacqui.
Thanks, Thomas. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this morning. We're going to give a quick presentation just to outline what our business does and also how we have changed our business model due to COVID-19. So just give you a bit of a backstory on how the business started. In 2019, when I was on my second maternity leave in 2 years, I was looking at my employment options. At the time, I was working as a technical sales rep for an orthopedic implant company, which meant long hours and unpredictable timing. So during the 5 years for working with them, I had an insight into the healthcare system, and especially the requirements for safe and effective patient care. My background is in biomedical engineering, and I also have developed my skills in research and development for my biomaterials in medical devices. James, my husband, who's here, runs a successful 3D printing company, 3D Technology, which sells 3D printers. They do maintenance, supply, and engineering. So we sat down, brainstormed, and tried to figure out, okay, what can we do together to try and come up with a new business idea? And just give you a couple of images of the people that made us change our day-to-day was Matilda, she's just over 1. We've got Esme here, she's 2.5. There's the two of them having some fun in the sun.
Yeah, so as Jacqui mentioned, hi everybody, when Jacqui was on her first maternity leave, we began trashing out ideas that could combine 3D printing with Jacqui's biomedical background. And at the time, we actually came up with an idea of 3D printing babies, or more 3D printing the ultrasound, 3D ultrasound. But that idea never really got off the ground. We had more success with brainstorming during Jacqui's second maternity leave, and that's when we focused on the idea of creating bespoke 3D printed anatomical models for surgeons and medical device companies. And we felt that when we kind of stumbled on that we really had a kind of a light bulb moment.
Yes, so just to explain what MedScan does, we are a consultancy-based company that specializes in printing highly accurate, patient-specific 3D anatomical models. So we work side by side with different research groups and healthcare professionals to develop clinically relevant models. So the consultancy includes taking MRI scans or CT scans, so like that left image there, and then converting them into digital files, so that middle image you see there. And those digital files then are printable in a 3D format. So that's the last image you see there on the right, so that's a printable heart. So we are able to print a patient-specific model. And not only can we print them as is, but we can also add on different ports and maybe stands that would make testing very easy, and they can introduce them to their own simulation models. So that's kind of the basis of our business model.
Sorry, can I jump in there really quick?
Yeah.
Have you guys shared your screen yet? I want to make sure everyone's seeing the screen. I don't.
Oh, you haven't been able to see the screen?
I haven't. I don't know if everyone else has.
Oh, dear. Oh, no.
If everyone.
So let me just see.
You are share screening, yeah. Can you see now?
Oh, perfect.
Okay,
sorry
so
about that now.
just quickly to show the images.
Sorry about that.
Makes it a bit more interesting. So this is Matilda, who I was talking about earlier. She's our youngest. This is our eldest, who's 2.5. We don't own the donkey, but they're obsessed with that donkey. The two of them, they're playing in the pool. That was just the ideas that James is talking about. And then just talking about the digital files there. So that's just a scan. And then that middle image is the conversion, which is the software we use to convert the scans into printable file. So James and I will talk about the team.
Yeah, so the team. So I just want to move this if I can. Can I move that? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Jacqui has a background in biomedical engineering and biomaterials, and has worked in the healthcare industry for over 8 years, which gave a good insight into the demands and the needs of the healthcare professionals. My name is James, and my background is also in engineering, and I have a master's in project management, and I've been working in the 3D printing sector for 5 years now with 3D Technology Ltd. Martin, who is the ripest bottom right in the middle, Martin has a background in biomedical engineering, and he has an extensive knowledge in 3D CAD and vascular anatomy, so it really fits in quite well with the MedScan business model. And Johannes has a background in mechanical engineering, and again has an extensive knowledge in 3D printing, materials, and design for additive manufacturing, or design for 3D printing. We also have our American friend, Robert Rosenberg, or Bob. So Bob has been involved with us since late last year, and he's been mentoring us and guiding us pretty much. And Bob has been a great help since COVID began, keeping us focused and making sure we don't lose our cool.
By the way, that's an old photo of Bob that we sourced on Facebook. We're hoping that's him because it was a team picture, but we think we got the right guy. So again, just to talk a little bit more about what MedScan does for you or for a company, we streamline what is normally a very complicated process with a complete solution, all in-house, which provides a quick turnaround of customizable models with no 3D printing technology limitations. And this really suits the demands of a fast-paced R&D team, that they don't have to go to multiple different companies, for printing or for design or for adaptations, that we do it all in one house. That, especially we've got the expertise all in-house, as James explained about the team. And MedScan in the media, this is prior to COVID. Within a year, we had customers such as Boston Scientific and Medtronic. We've been shortlisted for a MedTech Innovation Award in 3D printing sector. And also there'll be an article coming out soon about me as a woman in 3D printing in their form, and what they do is their mission is to promote, support, inspire women in additive manufacturing. There's not many women in 3D printing, and it's something I definitely am proud of, and I'm eager to kind of, get more of us involved and expand the team with a few more females. I think it would be good as well.
So this, just to give you an idea of what we've been doing since COVID began. So pre-COVID, it was the anatomical models, or the, for surgeons and for medical device medical device companies. But since COVID came along, we decided that we would try and adapt our business to suit the needs of what was happening. So this is an image of a face shield. So basically, it's the black part there that is printed. So we've been manufacturing these. We've been printing the brims, the face shields, and assembling them in GTC here in the boardroom. So that we've created a reusable face shield that can be sterilized by hospitals, and a disposable face shield which can be wiped with alcohol, but it's not for sterilization in hospitals. The second image, so this is a connector. This is a respirator, and the small kind of cream part you see there is basically a connector which holds the respirator together. So hospitals started running out of these, and they contacted us to see could we print them. So the respirator itself is made by a company called Aerogen here in Galway. So we went to Aerogen, and they thankfully gave us a respirator and a spare connector, which they had. And then we used our in-house expertise. So we used our 3D scanner to scan that connector into a digital environment, so into 3D CAD. And then we were able to 3D print versions of it. So we've delivered hundreds of those to hospitals. And I suppose the benefit really was, once we had our hands on the respirator and the connector, we were able to turn around those next day. So this is another image of something we've done recently. So this is a mask which is currently used by surgeons in UCHG. The little grey port you see at the end, we have been printing those. so they can be replaced. So usually the port that's normed there isn't replaceable, but the surgeon decided that they wanted to innovate this mask. They wanted to repurpose it so it can be reused for COVID patients. So what they needed was somebody to modify and print that port. So that's what we've been doing for them. So again, just helping the surgeons innovate and fight COVID-19.
Yeah, a big part of what we've been doing as well is to do some donations and meet demands that maybe haven't been met. So when COVID first hit Ireland, we registered on different COVID response websites and forums. We quickly realised that there was a demand not being met within the nursing homes, so they weren't getting any of the personal protective equipment. I think, we noticed it quite early, and within the coming weeks it was all over the news. So what we decided to do is set up a GoFundMe page, and that we would supply face shields to nursing homes. And we reached out to loads of friends and family and asked them if they'd like to volunteer some time, to assemble and to do drop off. And we were overwhelmed by the support in both the donations and the time that people gave. We had people coming in on sunny afternoons that they could be spending with their kids in the garden. My mum was driving around Limerick with her partner to deliver. And James's aunt, delivered in Tipperary, and it was just great to have that kind of connection. I think people wanted to help out as well, so it was easy to get people. So to date, we have delivered to over 90 nursing homes, and a big thank you to GTC for allowing us to avail of their meeting room. We've basically, you can see the bottom left picture there is the meeting room there across the way, and without that space it just wouldn't have been possible to do any of the assembly, to be honest.
So we have been doing lots of other projects as well, and this is just kind of an overview. So the first image you see on the left is a face shield that we've been designing. So we're a dynamic team, and we're trying to adapt and pivot where we can to meet the needs of the market. So the image on the left is a face shield that we're currently working on for dentists. So they're looking for an adjustable face shield so that they can, I suppose, attach their equipment to their head and still use a face shield, but then bring the face shield closer to their face when they don't have their equipment. So Martin on the team is working on this at the moment, and it's a work in progress, but we're hoping to have prototypes to dentists maybe later this week or early next week. And the other image on the right hand side of your screen, we have been working with builders, and we've come up with a system so they can attach a face shield to their hard hat. So again, if when they return to work on the 18th, if they need to wear face shields, we now have a solution for them. So again, we're just trying to problem solve and come up with innovative ideas to keep the show on the road.
Yeah, I spoke about MedScan, the media prior to COVID, and during COVID we've been getting a lot of traction, which has been amazing. We featured on the 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock news with Teresa Mannion. Again, I think that came from me texting into some WhatsApp group to say, I think I was looking for volunteers or something, and her cameraman saw somebody. We're so connected now that things just happen quite quickly. So yeah, we've been on the news and different articles such as City Tribune, Belfast Digital. Yesterday I didn't even realise I came across the Irish Mirror. So we're very happy to be getting traction and hopefully getting our name out there. And it definitely has evolved into people contacting us and new projects starting that it wouldn't have happened otherwise. So COVID, although is bad for business, it's also hopefully will open the door to new business also. And that's basically it. I'm just going to leave those details up there. We are active on LinkedIn and Twitter daily. We do daily updates. We also do a weekly blog. So, if we're doing a project that we can speak about, we like to talk about that. And obviously we've got websites and it's my email and mobile. We're very contactable. At the start of this presentation, I suppose, and the start of this journey for me, it was very much about getting a work-life balance. And I definitely do. I get to go home maybe, 2 or 3 o'clock in the day and see the kids. But it means that the laptop is probably out in the evening time when they go to bed, or we're on our phones checking emails or whatnot. But I find it enjoyable. We're husband and wife, obviously working together, but we work quite well as a team. And switching off can sometimes be a problem, but overall it's been a really great journey, and I hope to continue it. So I think we'll go back to Thomas, and if there's any questions, we're happy to answer them.
That's perfect, you guys. It's been an incredible story, watching and very quick. And as you mentioned, you're pivoting almost on a weekly basis just to meet the demands as they come in, which is fantastic. And it's great you've highlighted a few things. The partnership in the company level, the partnership in the your personal level, balancing, as an entrepreneur, you're balancing life, remote working, obviously you're on site because you're essential workers, everything. I mean, there's so many things that are kind of wrapped up into this story, which just make it fascinating. And as you mentioned, it's, the media publicity that you've been getting over the last several weeks, especially, is just kind of fueling that. So it is a great story. It's a story that, a lot of, startups and SMEs can look to and say, right, I know there's some sectors that will have more challenges, and, you're just kind of positioned in a place with your own business with regards to responding to the current crisis. But that's not to say that, the ideas behind being open to the opportunities, not seeing everything as a huge crisis, in every crisis. And I think, you mentioned Bob and working with Bob, and, he always mentions every crisis also leads to opportunities. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what you guys have been doing, which is fantastic. No, it's great to see. One thing I'm just looking at the last slide there. You just as a point, you mentioned the GoFundMe page. Is that something that you're still operating? Yeah. Is that something you could?
You want to get the link up there? Yeah, no, absolutely. As I said, I think we've had €15,000 in total donated between. We had a Facebook fundraiser page as well. So there's still money in the kitty, and even when that money runs out, we'll continue to donate, on a weekly basis where we can. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd have to share it.
You could probably get it up there, no?
Yeah.
I think it's COVID-19 PPE for our nursing homes, but I said it wrong before, so I don't want to say it wrong again. But yeah, absolutely, we're happy to obviously take donations for now and for going forward.
What we can do as well is after this, for anybody who has been registered, we can look to maybe send those details out if they want to share it with their own networks. Because it's fantastic work that you guys are doing, and be able to kind of keep that going for providing the materials for the health sector.
We can do it as long as we have a room to do it in, so that might not might not be able to do it once people are back to work,
but yeah, and so at this time, if anybody has any specific questions, if you want to either throw them into the chat, if you want to unmute yourself, or throw it into the chat, and we can have James and Jacqui ask it. Anything? Work away.
We'll have to send you the GoFundMe later, Thomas, because under pressure, I'm
sure. There's no panic.
I don't know my login details for GoFundMe. I'll have to.
No worries. There's no panic. There's a big. Oh yeah. There's a message that's come in there, so we'll just have a quick look at it. Have you guys seen the message that came in from Jamie there?
No. Maybe I need to.
Oh, this is Jamie. So yeah, this is another GTC member who, like yourselves, are working on pivoting, and it might be a good conversation to pick up after the. Maybe we can link you guys afterwards. It is kind of the idea, we're very lucky, as you mentioned, with Teresa Mannion kind of catching wind of your story. I mean, as entrepreneurs and as small businesses, we can pivot, you can do everything right. And sometimes it's just that added little bit of luck that kind of gets your name out there that, will just kind of keep things flowing as well. And, that being said, the more you put yourself out there, the better. So
so what we did was, we didn't, like, the Teresa Mannion thing happened kind of organically, like Jack said. So it was in a kind of a toddler play group that Jacqui put in about what she was doing, and somehow that got back to Teresa Mannion and she came in. But once that happened, again, it was Bob's advice that we tried to, like you mentioned, get the opportunity from that exposure. So it was at that point we got in contact with the local enterprise office with Breda and the team in Galway, and we got the business innovation voucher. And we've used that then to pay a marketing company to help us. When I say marketing, they do like help with our social media marketing, because that was something that I suppose we weren't it was something we were doing ourselves, but you'd kind of forget one day, you wouldn't do another day. Whereas now we're a lot more focused. There's someone there that helps us, that creates content, helps us create content, helps us write blogs. And that's been we're just trying to leverage off that bit of exposure. Because once COVID ends, we want to make sure that we can kind of, leap back into work.
And also we don't want to be known as the face shield company, because, long term, that's not really what we'll be doing. So it's to make sure that people know that we're doing that as kind of a COVID response, and then to still get the message out of what we're actually doing and hope to do once this all kind of dies down. And just to note, though, you didn't want to go on the RT News, did you? He was saying it was like an hour's notice, and we weren't ready, camera ready, so I had to fly home. Luckily, there was no traffic.
It was during COVID, and I'd come to work. I hadn't brushed my hair. I was wearing a shirt. It wasn't the day that I was prepared for someone to stick a camera in my face, But
I got my way.
You brought up a good point there as well for other companies who are in the same boat, and I know. We've filtered a lot of information with regards to supports that different organizations are throwing out there. And you mentioned the business continuity voucher that Leo have offered, and that's it's a great opportunity, and there is that scope to utilize it for what you need it for. Whether it's you need it on the account side, sales side. For you guys, it was the marketing side. So. It's definitely.
I think the local enterprise office have been really accommodating, and that business continuity voucher, it's it's a 50% funding, so they'll pay up to a certain point and give you half of the money towards it. But it's I think everybody should avail of it and use it for something. At the moment,
If anyone is looking for that on the GTC website, www.gtc.ie, we have on our COVID page the link for the local enterprise office and the vouchers that they have on offer. So if you are looking for that, that's one way to find that. But
another thing we're looking at the moment is they do another grant for setting up a web shop. Is it an online trading voucher? Again, they help you, they give you some funding towards putting together your web shop. So again, something that at the moment, because we're I suppose we're a little bit quieter than usual because of COVID, it gives us an opportunity to focus on these things that would usually be on the long finger. We might do it, and we must do that application, whereas now we have the time to say we better do it,
Yeah, I think a lot of companies are finding that to be the case, where there's a lot of projects that were put on the long finger that, in a way we are getting the time to do. So, that's there are small little nuggets to be taken out of this scenario.
Absolutely.
And especially as small businesses, like, taking every opportunity that's out there is, really the way to go. So you're, not only pivoting your business, you are taking opportunities that are in front of you, and, reliant on a little bit of luck and kind of.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But if anyone else has any other questions, and if you guys are.
To put it out there that we're available if there's another startup company, or just an individual who might be doing some projects that they want a bit of, I suppose, advice or encouragement, then we're happy for them to reach out and chat about different things that we might have done that could help them. So I said we've been very lucky to have Bob. I don't know if we'd be in this position without him, to be honest. I know James touched on like keeping keeping the cool, but we have a weekly call with him, and it honestly, I could be freaking out, on the Tuesday afternoon, but he just does something to settle your nerves and keep the blinkers on. So he's been amazing. So, we'd like to pay that forward as well, and make sure that we could help somebody else. We'd happy to do so.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, you guys. We appreciate you guys sharing the story. I think with no further questions, and if you guys are happy with that, we will bring this webinar to a close. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this week. We will have another webinar, possibly 2 next week. I'm just finalizing those details today, and so keep an eye open on our website and email and social media for those details, because it'd be great to see everyone come back. So have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you again hopefully soon.
All right. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Thomas. Bye
now.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.